What's going on, everybody? This is Brian Mazik, aka Franchise Play, and I'm back with another video. But this is my first Smackdown recap, and I'm planning on doing a Raw recap as well as a pay-per-view recap. You know, whenever they added out the WWE pay-per-views, this is something I used to do with just pay-per-views, but I'm doing it a little bit different now. I used to put together the entire video package where we had the steals and the slideshow feel, but I decided to go a little bit different, utilize my resources a little bit more, and we're gonna go directly and jump into looking at some stuff on Twitter, which I think will allow us to actually go through this a little bit better and get you a better feel of what happened on SmackDown, then on Raw, and then on the pay-per-views. So without further ado, let's jump straight to. So I'm going to take you from the beginning of the show all the way until the end, and I'm going to break down what happened, my thoughts, and so forth. So it started off, as you can see, it's a 915th edition of SmackDown Live, and they were in St. Paul, Minnesota, which doesn't say that in the tweet here, but that's where they were. So it starts off with this scene here. Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan are watching video of last week's Battle Royal that ended inconclusively when they couldn't tell whose feet hit the ground first between Luke Harper and AJ Styles. Pretty cool Battle Royal that was supposed to determine the #1 contender for Bray Wyatt's WWE title and essentially who was going to main event WrestleMania. So they determined that Harper and Styles needed to go at it again in a one-on-one match. Luke killed it with his short one-word answer. He just showed up, and this was a great shot. If you look at it here, sometimes you can forget how big Luke Harper is, but when you see him in a shot like this with little guys like Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, and Shane McMahon, you see how huge this guy is. Also, take notice, Luke Harper's been in the weight room a little bit, so he is in much better shape and in better shape to be the type of in-ring force that I think he can be. I'm a big Luke Harper fan, big. I think he's one of the best in-ring workers of all of the super heavyweights or the bigger guys. I think his look is disgustingly awesome, which is exactly what it's supposed to be. And I think he's much better on the mic than he gets credit for. So he just came in. Once he found out that he got the match he wanted, he said 2 words, "Thank you," and walked out. So they're going to meet again to decide who will headline WrestleMania 33. All right, so the first in-ring action, it was a weird episode of Miz TV, right? Not that weird, but kind of weird. The Miz and Maurice take the ring, and John Cena is the guest. So I'm like, okay, automatically we see there's something going to be going on with Miz and John Cena. We know this happened before. I think it was, what was it, WrestleMania 26, when the Miz main event WrestleMania, and yeah, so we already know that happened before, but it looks like it might be coming back again. The Miz has been ridiculously good on the mic for a long time. He was dynamic again, and I'm thinking that this is going to be a pretty good feud. Maybe Miz and Cena, this makes a little sense. Miz is shredding Cena on the mic. He says, he calls him barely decent Cena. He's not Super Cena anymore. He's barely decent Cena. But John Cena, as only he can do, you guys need to give John credit for the type of just, I mean, he's so good on the mic, man. It's insane how good he is on the mic, right? And we see it every week. He says that the Miz tried to bootleg The Rock's electricity. He flat out stole everything from Chris Jericho. He stole Ric Flair's finishing move. He stole Daniel Bryan's offense, all kinds of stuff. He calls him a trend-hopping, joke-stealing unoriginal, and told him don't bring a knife to a gunfight. So Cena's about to walk out the ring, and Maurice comes up behind him and stops him, and I'm already knowing what's going to happen. She's going to slap him. Once she slaps him, Nikki Bella is going to come running to the ring. You can see he told him, we can't see you, John. You know, we can't see you because you're never here. Whole thing. We've been hearing guys take this type of angle at John for a minute. So yes, like I said, she slaps him. All right. So Nikki Bella runs to the ring, And immediately what I'm knowing already is going to happen is we're looking at a mixed tag match. And I thought maybe it might happen here, but it's not. It's more than likely, probably, I'm pretty sure it's going to happen at the next pay-per-view, which will be WrestleMania for SmackDown. I believe that is correct. So I'm thinking that's going to happen. I'm not all that happy about that. That's just doesn't do anything for me. It really doesn't. Maybe it should, but it doesn't. Anyway, next match comes up. It's a best 2 out of 3 falls match between Mickie James and Becky Lynch. Not all that enthused about this one. They met, what is it, a week before last, I think, or whatever. And the match was decent, but didn't blow me away. Best 2 out of 3 falls is somewhat interesting. Becky ends up getting the first fall. Yes, we got Bray Wyatt's invocation coming up. Mickie James gets the first fall with the Mick DDT. It's okay, right? The second fall goes to Becky Lynch, of course, and she gets it on a schoolgirl. The third and final fall comes when Becky gets the disarmor after Alexa Bliss came to the ring to try to interfere. Mickie James ends up kicking Alexa Bliss off of the apron, and Becky Lynch takes advantage of the distraction and gets the disarmor. Not a great match, pretty much like I expected. Now we get a pre-recorded promo from Luke Harper, which was pretty short, but it was followed up immediately after a pre-recorded promo from Bray Wyatt. He holds up the title, calls himself a god and all that. Yeah, we get you, Bray. Bray's a beast, but, you know, whatever. All right, so that had nothing to do with the show. Xavier Woods there. So that whole pre-recorded promo sets up the match between Luke Harper and AJ Styles. But before they go in, Alexa Bliss and Natty are on the screen. Actually, Alexa Bliss was supposed to get interviewed. Her interview kind of got interrupted by Natty. So we got 2 heels out here, but you can tell there's some sort of contentious type of feeling in the air. Well, Natty says she's going to take Alexa Bliss's title. So when is she going to get that match? We'll see what that's coming up. But she says she's going to take. Natty's been great as a heel. Alexa Bliss, I think, is very good too. So that's somewhat interesting to me. They also announced that you're going to have a chairs match later on in the day between Apollo Crews and Dolph Ziggler. We'll see how that one works. But then AJ Styles and Luke Harper get in the ring, and they put on a nice show. It was a solid match. It first appeared to end via a phenomenal forearm from AJ Styles, but Luke Harper got his leg on the rope, bottom rope. And originally they said, hey, Styles had already won, but Shane McMahon came out and said, hey, you know, clearly Luke Harper's foot was on the rope, so he restarts the match. Match gets restarted. Shane McMahon's out there. Luke Harper inadvertently kicks the commissioner of SmackDown. That was only done partially. Well, watch this. He kicks him in the shoulder blade or something. I don't know. Whatever. Well, AJ Styles takes advantage, gets the clean pin after a springboard 450 splash, and he is now the #1 contender for WrestleMania. On the way out, AJ Styles gives a little bit of some lip to Shane McMahon, who took the kick like a champ. After that, we see Nikki and Cena again. This time they are interrupted by James Ellsworth and Carmella, and they are the ones who wind up getting put into a mixed tag match with Cena and Nikki for next week's SmackDown Live. Now, if you thought I was not interested in Miz and Maurice against Cena and Nikki, I'm even less interested in Ellsworth and Carmella against Cena and Nikki. Just terrible. Ellsworth just makes my skin ball up and die. So I don't know what that's about, but whatever. All right, next up, Dean Ambrose was supposed to take on Kurt Hawkins. But what he does is he walks to the ring, kicks him in the stomach, gives him dirty deeds. The match doesn't even start. Hawkins rolls out of the ring, and Ambrose goes into a promo right there talking to Baron Corbin, who has been smacking him around for the last couple of weeks. He wants Baron Corbin to come to the ring, but Baron Corbin refuses. Instead, he appears on the Jumbotron And Dean Ambrose is going at it. He's telling them this. He's telling them that. And he's not doing too bad. But Baron Corbin gets on the mic, and this is really right now the big man's biggest deficiency. He just cannot deliver impacting promo at all. And yeah, he needs some help there. It's really dead and weird sounding. His body language is off. You know, something's missing. I don't know what needs to change because he has almost everything else, but that right there for sure is not where it needs to be. I thought it was a very subpar mic session on Corbin's part. Next up, we have Ziggler against Cruz in the chairs match, and we see Apollo doing stuff like that on top of the chair on Ziggler. Apollo is one heck of an athlete. He's got to stop smiling so much, and he's got to get some sort of identity on the mic and so on and so forth. But physically, he is a freak, right? Now, he doesn't win this match. Ziggler wins it clean. I mean, you can call it clean because it's obviously a no disqualification match, but he drops Apollo Crews with his throat on the, I don't even know what called part of the chair, the top portion of the chair. Then after that, he sets him up for an atomic drop, and instead of dropping him on his knee, he drops him on the top of the chair betwixt the legs. So that obviously does not feel good if it was done in real life. And that was enough to get Ziggler the pin. So it wasn't a horrible match. It really wasn't. Thought it was decent. I don't know what exactly they're doing with Ziggler and Cruz right now. I know I see they're in the feud, but you know, it is what it is. Hey. All right. So lastly, and certainly not least, Bray Wyatt takes the center of the ring. Now, he is expecting to be accompanied by Randy Orton, but that does not happen. Bray gets in the ring, and turns out Randy is at whatever, Freak headquarters, and he is there where Sister Abigail's remains are supposed to be. And Randy's dressed in all black like the Omen. But he is really delivering some weird, dark, horror movie-like lines. This is your world, Bray, but it's not mine. It never was. So, a lot of people were expecting, obviously, Randy Orton was going to turn on Bray Wyatt. Some people thought it was going to be like a plot where it was like, hey, I never was with you. I thought I was never with you, was just waiting for the right time to spring this on you. They don't go that route. Instead, they say legitimately, Randy Orton had bought into Bray Wyatt, but now he feels that it's time to change. Sister Abigail was put to rest right beneath my feet, or at least what's left of her. And he announces that he is coming for Bray, coming for the title at WrestleMania. So we already see right now SmackDown's biggest match is going to be Orton against Wyatt. At the end of the whole promo, he sets the house on fire that's supposed to contain the remains of Sister Abigail, which drives Bray Wyatt stone out of his mind. And that's how we leave the air. Now, if you look here, the poll that goes out at the end of every Raw and SmackDown, what did you think of this week's SmackDown Live? Fans continue to dig SmackDown at a high percentage. 77% gave it a thumbs up. You can't go wrong with that. Can't go wrong with that. Randy Orton is coming for you. That's it. I really I think it was a pretty solid show. It definitely was a pretty solid show. I just like the 2-hour format more. You're gonna hear that from me probably another few times as we talk about SmackDown, as we talk about Raw. I think Raw a lot of times ends up getting a little watered down because they got to fill that 3-hour time slot, and 2 hours seems to be more appropriate. We'll see what happens, but all in all, another strong episode from SmackDown. That's all I got in this particular video, but be sure to stay tuned throughout the week. We're going to be hitting more video game stuff, more traditional sports stuff, more WWE stuff. Matter of fact, I'm thinking we're going to probably do a Fastlane simulations. Fastlane and WWE Fastlane is coming up on Sunday. We're going to definitely do a recap of WWE Fastlane on Sunday, so be watching for that. If you are subscribed, make sure that you check your email notification box to make sure that every time I drop a video, you're able to know that it comes out. Like this video as well. If you have not subscribed and you dug what you saw today, go ahead and do that too. I appreciate you watching as always. God bless and peace.